I think the feminine voice of Christ was always ignored or hushed or silenced in some way. I think because it was dangerous somehow to our entire belief system, and what we're taught to believe about what the Christ is and what Christ means. And I think because it carries wisdom, Jesus always referred to wisdom, the Holy Spirit, as female. It's feminine. It's a feminine voice. And I think when we refer to the feminine Christ, the Mary Magdalenes, the Mother Mary, Sophia, there's so many. Lydia, Ruth, and that's just biblical, But I think that's why a lot of women sometimes are scared to share their wisdom. I think they're afraid of so many centuries of being taught to be silenced. Speaking through that Christ voice, that Christ light. Because people would question their wisdom. Well, where does it come from? Well, the Holy Spirit, when it flows through you. I've learned so much from women. Women have true wisdom. I mean, it's connected to the womb, the mother. It's the deepest connection to God. I mean, it's how she knows what her kids needs and wants. If they're hungry, they're tired, if they're sick, they're not feeling well, if something's bothering them. The feminine voice is in men as well. When two become one, I always think of that when Jesus said that, When the two become one, then you can say to that mountain, move, and it will move. A lot of times I think that's really the masculine and the feminine within you. When those become united within you. When the dark and the light become united within you. When the good and the bad become united within you. When you learn to integrate these two sides of you into one whole. When they talk about like shadow work, what is shadow work? Well, it's the deconstruction of the self. It's understanding why are you the way that you are, right? And then like tracing that pattern back. And then you understand all layers of yourself, your family, your society, your faith, and how that all shaped you. And how a lot of it is not all based in truth. And how some of it is based in a lot of darkness and shadow. I think it's a beautiful thing when we can walk in so much light with our shadow. And when we can integrate this very masculine side of us with this very feminine side. And suddenly you're a whole damn person. And this is like a struggle of many of us, when two become one. I think a lot of people assume that means marriage when Jesus said that, when two become one. But I never thought that. I never thought that. I think he meant an inner integration of all the parts of the self to become whole. And I always think about also, always talk about Mary Magdalene. And I always think about her significance in his life, in each other's lives, but also particularly in the moment when she was the first to appear at his resurrection. And the line that always stuck out to me was, "Do not cling to me, for I have not ascended yet to the Father." I always wonder, do not cling to me. Why would he say that? What does that mean? Do not attach to me. Do not feel sorrow. Do not feel sadness. Do not feel grief. Love me, but do not attach to me. For I have not fulfilled my mission yet. I have not yet ascended to the Father. He did not reach his true divinity at that point. He was just starting to. And she saw him in all his divinity. And chose to love him anyway. Even after saying that, do not cling to me. I can relate. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. You know, when we look for somebody else to fill us, somebody else to see us, somebody else to fill the need in us. And it doesn't have to be somebody. It can be an addiction, a pattern, just outside validation. I met a guy recently here, very sweet guy. I volunteered at the Red Cross in Macedonia. And I did that because I just wanted to do something to give back to the community, and I just got sick of my own shit. I got sick of like my own bullshit. So I was like, Jen, go do something for the community. And so I volunteered for the Red Cross. And there was a guy that worked next door at a restaurant, and he kept visiting, and he needed some shirts, and he was a foreigner. He's not from Macedonia, let's say. And so it was very lovely. We had lovely conversations when I was there. And anyway, he was picking out some clothes. He told me about his life, why he moved to Macedonia. Anyway, but and so we exchanged contacts on Facebook. And I saw him the next couple of days because I volunteered there for a couple of days. And he started to message me a lot, quite a bit. And then he, very sweet, but he was very honest. And he said, I'm very lonely. I'm lonely. I want friends. Don't ignore me. And it started to get like this kind of messages. Don't ignore me. Why are you ignoring me? I'm lonely. That's kind of an example. And I empathize. I've been lonely many points in my life. And I've put my loneliness on other people. And I have wanted another person to rectify that. Be there for me. Why aren't you picking up? Why aren't you, fill this hole right now? And it's a beautiful thing because I empathized with him. I understood that, and that was just honest. But also, every time I didn't have validation, every time I didn't have somebody there when I needed it, every time my loneliness and my shadows took the best of me, and I looked for an outside source or person or substance to fulfill what I needed. And for every rejection or unanswered call or unavailability, God was always pointing me back to myself. God was always showing me, you are whole. Make the two become one, You are whole. Trust me. I see that now, didn't see it then, But it's reflected back to you, in all stages of your life. And so I was like that in many points of my life, deeply, deeply wounded and looking and all of this. And this sense of wholeness, I think it's like a journey, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to go through a lot of processes. And I think that's another part of why God sent me on the journey to travel, amongst other reasons. Is that a ladybug in my head? What is that? Or ant? How you doing? My guy. Okay. Because when you travel, you meet people, and then you've got to leave them. And so the beauty of this is you can meet people and make really beautiful connections with these people. that you'll never forget, and they'll hold a sweet place in your heart. But then you gotta leave, you know. Day before, I was in a cafe in the morning, and I was feeling good. I was journaled, I had a cup of coffee, and they were playing some good music. So I don't know, I was just in my own element, dancing, you know. And there was this guy sitting across from me, and he's from Australia. And just as I was leaving the cafe, he called out to me, and I turned around, you know, and he was like, just started a conversation with me. And he said, I just wanted to talk to you because I love how you were just sitting there enjoying yourself. I love that. I mean, like, that's a very nice compliment, you know. And he's like, you just were in your own element, enjoying your own time with yourself. And I was like, yeah, I kind of was. And we had a great little conversation. And he said, hey, you want to go for a bike ride later? You want to, these bikes, if you rent from hostels, the bikes are free. So I love you, Macedonia. So that's really cool. But anyway, I said, okay, you know, maybe. And then, you know, there's still that part of me that's a little bit cautious, that like, what do you want, fella? What are you thinking, you know? And then I was like, all right. And I still went about my day. I was like, nah, I want my own time. And I was like, I don't know about this guy. But then I ended up meeting him later on. We actually ran into each other, and we just walked. We walked for like an hour, and we talked about the beauty of Lake Ohrid and all of this. And he said, okay, tomorrow morning, do you want to go for bike rides? We can get free bikes, and, you know, let's just go on this beautiful trail. And I was like, okay, you know. And I don't know, I felt like clear with him. Like, there was no underlining intentions. Like, you know, some women worry, like, is this guy trying to hit on me? Is this, you know, whatever. And then so the next morning came, and I got a message from him at like 7:30, because we were supposed to meet at like 9 a.m. to do the bikes, because he had to check out, and he was going on his way traveling. So he had to like check out at 10 or something, right? And so he messaged me in the morning, and he said, hey, Jennifer, it was so lovely meeting you. Great conversation. Thanks for, you know, the nice walk. And he said, but I actually decided to leave a little bit earlier because I want to go see Skopje, the capital of Macedonia. And he's like, I really want to take advantage and be there the whole day. So I'm going to take the earlier bus. But hey, I hope you still do that bike trail. Here's the trail. And he sent me the map. Nothing in me was disappointed, like, oh, I met a new friend. What, you know, like maybe an old Jen with attachment issues would have been disappointed. But I found something beautiful. I found something beautiful in that message, because he followed his heart. He didn't need to go bike riding with me. He decided, no, I'm going to Skopje to spend time in the city, and I think I'd rather do that. And I kind of loved this, because it was just like, I was happy for him, genuinely. And I said, yeah, hey, man, awesome, you know? And I don't know, it's I can just tell how much I've grown, you know? You know, my old, not anything to do with like dating or anything like that. That is not in my mind. But I mean, just the fact of like, oh, having a feeling of rejection, let's just say rejection from a friend, from anybody, you know, none of that was there. The part of me that used to have that is gone. And I was actually more happy he decided that he wanted to leave earlier and explore more. And I was like, wow, that is beautiful. And I completely understood him. And I actually, in that moment, said, I would have done the same, you know? I would have done the same. And we already had a nice talk and walk. And it's like traveling has helped me heal a lot of these attachments and maybe self-worth things and all of this, you know? And it's really beautiful to be able to meet people, connect, and then let go. And something inside of me is telling me the two are becoming one in me. And that feels like some inner Christ light happening. And I feel very grateful for this. very grateful for this. There's a feeling of freedom and beauty when you get to enjoy people in their essence, in the present moment, with no expectations. There's something so incredibly whole about this. And I'm sure I will be tested more, you know, or whatever, but like so far, this feels so beautiful. So, I don't know, my videos always start in a weird place and I never know where they're gonna end, but I guess that's kind of the Holy Spirit, the feminine wisdom, how it comes out. In some way, it starts one way, but it turns out another. And I'm starting to kind of really value my own wisdom in some beautiful way. But yeah,